Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we are back with a monthly members poll winner. So these are polls over on my Patreon, which you can vote on just by being a member, completely free, link in the description, or you can even submit a song for these polls by joining the chocolate egg tier. Yes, all of the Patreon tiers are egg-based because... So this month's poll winner was the Brian Setzer Orchestra with Jump, Jive and Wail. The song from 1988, Brian Setzer, he's the founder, lead guitarist and vocalist of a band called Stray Cats. I only know one song of theirs, the Stray Cats Strut. I discovered that when I was quite young.
Stray Cats Strut, I'm
A bit of the old 1980s teddy boy subculture, a subculture I certainly could not be a part of because of... Anyway, this is a 17-piece swing revival orchestra. Sounds exciting. The name, Jump, Jive and Wail. I think let's just get straight into it. Super fun, isn't it? I just love the 50s style, this rock and roll type music. Obviously, we're hearing 12-bar blues. I'm sure I'll touch on that a bit later on when we go over some analysis. Everything about it, super fun. The music, the energy, the aesthetic. Yeah, very, very fun one. A bit of guitar shredding there. So the person who submitted this song, I will keep them anonymous just in case privacy. They did let me know that in February of this year, it's currently June, I don't know when you're watching this, Brian, he announced that he has an autoimmune disease which is stopping him from playing guitar. He said it feels like he's wearing gloves when he plays, which, you know, being a guitarist like that must just be sad, frustrating, annoying. Although apparently he said that it is getting better and he's hoping to continue touring with the Brian Setzer Orchestra Christmas shows and Stray Cats, which is very nice to see. So sending our best wishes, I'm sure, to Brian. Hopefully he can make a recovery and keep rocking out like this.
She wants to learn how to jive and wail. Oh, you gotta jump jiving, then you wail. 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 You gotta jump jiving, then you wail away. You gotta jump jiving, then you wail. 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 You gotta jump jiving, then you wail.
Tell you what, as a woman here, your choice of underwear is probably a very integral part of the outfit. Skirts are flying up all over the place, so if you are a lady going to one of these events, perhaps with the Brian Setzer Orchestra playing live, and you're going to be doing this dancing, make sure to wear your favorite underwear because people will be looking at them. Not in a creepy way, just they will be on show with such dance moves. Let's carry on. Oh, that's cool. Well, that was a fun one. Very energetic. I accidentally scrolled down here and the top comment, as you tell your kids and grandkids, yes, there was a time that hip-hop, grunge and swing music coexisted in pop music. We're not sure what the heck was going on. Yeah, very good comment. Whilst it does fit mostly in one genre, there are definitely elements of some other genres in there. A bit of a splash of modernity, shall we say, compared to, for example, if this were to come out in the 50s. Well, this is one of those songs where I don't think I'm going to have too much to say musically, but that's due to the nature of the song. You're going to be dancing to it. You want to get into the swing and rhythm, if you'll pardon the pun, of it. So you want to be familiar with it. You want to be hearing riffs that you're familiar with that will be able to help you with the dancing. I'm sure a lot of the dances would be improvised at this kind of thing. Just going with the groove, you know, just feeling it. So let's take it back to the beginning and I'll just kind of point out the more interesting things with the song. It's also one of these songs where it shouldn't be too complex from the standpoint of many things. Maybe rhythmically, because rhythms really give energy to music, but from a harmonic standpoint, the notes you're using, you don't want to be having these crazy modulations and key changes. We all know the phrase, sometimes less is more. And it's funny saying that because this certainly does not seem like a song that is less by any means. It's a huge sound, a 17-piece orchestra, so there is a lot going on, don't get me wrong, but they have to be careful because of how much there is. Here we're really given the structure. The foundations, we know what it is we're going to be listening to. You've got your brass or your reeds, your saxophones, your trombones. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum. And that motif we hear throughout the whole song. It is something we are familiar with. Every time it comes, we know it. You know it after 1 and 2 lessons because it's very catchy. It's got the octave jump in there. Bum, bum, bum. Back up, it's quite difficult to sing. I'd imagine easier to play on an instrument, and it's energetic. Now you couple it with the bass line, the walking bass. We saw the double bassist there spinning it around, playing with the slap bass style, all very energetic. Boom, 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 boom. A bass motif I'm sure you're all very familiar with, and this is the standard bass line you get in 12-bar blues. 12-bar blues, to summarize, as the name suggests, is 12 bars or measures that have a structure, and you'll hear it in a lot of blues music. It will be easier to show you it as an image, so here we are. 12 bars indicated in the top left by these little numbers, 1 through 12. And then the big Roman numerals is the chord that we're hearing. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 4, 1, 1. Don't worry if this sounds alien to you, I'll try and quickly explain what that is. So the key that we are in, bum, 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 bum. So the first note, bum, is a B flat. So we are in B flat. In the key of B flat, number 1, the first note of the scale, is B flat. And then as you move up the scale, the next note will be number 2, then number 3, then 4, and so on and so forth until you get back to B flat at the top. So that's what this Roman numeral is referring to. So we have the chord of note number 1 for the first 4 bars. And then for bars 5 and 6, we'll have the chord of note number 4. So it's basically that chord for the first 4 bars. And then we move to the chord of note number 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the chord of this note for 2 bars, as you can see, 1, 2, and then back to chord number 1. And then we go 5, 4, 1. And that's it, 12-bar blues. This bass line, can you hear it at the bottom? And now you can hear it's changed. Bum, 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 bum. So that's the move from chord 1 to chord 4. You might be thinking, oh, but we only heard that first bass line bum, 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 twice before we changed now to bum, 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 bum. And that's simply because in this case, the bass line for the first bar is bum, 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 bum. And then for the second bar, bum, 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 bum. So the whole bass motif is effectively 2 bars. There's our crash course in 12-bar blues, and that's what happens throughout the whole song. We do, of course, get a key change later on.
One good thing about him, he knows how to jive and wail. Jack and Jill went up the hill to get a pay.
So now the bass line is starting, whereas before it was here. So we've just moved up 1. Because it's a key change, this is now our new key. So now this note B is note number 1. So now that 12-bar blues progression where the chords are 1, 4, and 5, it would be. So this is what I mean when I say the harmony is not too complicated. It's a structure that's very well known in blues. It's easy to follow. You know what chord changes are coming and when. So if you are an instrumentalist, you're kind of free to improvise because you know which chords to stay within. It's all about maintaining the structure in order to enable freedom, which sounds quite contradictory. Let's keep things restricted so you can be free. But as a dancer, as a musician, you have this very clear foundational framework to work on. I remember when I was in school, probably 10 or 11 years old, and we were learning about blues music. We obviously were not very familiar with it, being young and it not being a huge musical scene where I'm from. And I remember quite a few of us thinking, oh, all these blues songs that we're hearing sound the same. And that's because the harmony was the same in them. I don't think that now, by the way. Traditional blues music is often, you know, quite soulful, quite melancholic, not this. So it's cool to see how different musical genres can use elements from other genres and they all cross over and work nicely together. This was what, swing revival, did we say?
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna happen.
Brian's singing style, barely any vibrato will notice.
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna happen.
Just singing straight tone, that really allows for, again, this idea of freedom. Why? Because you can slide a bit more between the notes. And interestingly, the singing style, in my opinion, is not so much about accuracy here. It's about the enjoyment, the fun of it. The word freedom just keeps coming to mind. Let's listen to this phrase. Notice his oh. The actual note would be this, which is part of that root chord. But because of this melodic freedom, he's actually singing this note here. A chromatic inflection, because it's just one note down, which creates this chord, the minor version of that chord. But at the same time, you'll have the bass line playing that riff, making the major version of the chord. So if you have them both together, it's introducing this quite intense dissonance. Anyway, let's listen to that.
Oh, you gotta jump jive, then you gotta jump jive.
And also the end of his phrasing, it's not exactly... It's almost on jump jive. Jump jive, you had a... In between the two notes, it's just very, very free.
You gotta jump jive, then you gotta jump jive.
And the same for the harmony parts as well. This idea of freedom, sliding. A guitar riff, a solo seems very improvisatory. You've got these kind of oohs going on in the background. Quite typical of jazz music, and I'm sure many other genres, the idea of passing the solo around between the instrumentalists or the members. The difference here being it's not a jazz quartet where you have like a pianist and a bassist and maybe a saxophonist and someone else, but we are still getting these solo moments just kind of by instrument rather than by member, perhaps. All the meanwhile maintaining this harmonic rigidity, the structure that's so integral, but the rhythms seem so free. So energetic that just keep things moving. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. I don't want to keep repeating myself. Like I said before, the purpose of the song really is to just be playing the same ideas over and over with some slight differences, such as the instrument we're hearing as a solo. So when we do get the first real harmonic change, lovely chord progression. Seems like we're going somewhere, and then that's where the key change comes in. A small key change to here, but a key change nonetheless. We're moving higher, and it just means that Brian will now be singing a little bit higher.
Up the hill to get a pail. Jack and Jill went up the hill to get a pail.
And as he moves a tiny bit higher, there's a tiny bit more grit coming through, giving the idea or the sensation of power or straining. Very rock and rolly.
Jump, jiving, then you ready, gotta jump, jiving, then you ready, gotta jump, jiving.
That's an interesting moment. Everything is reduced, all the instruments are, except for the percussion. Percussion obviously being the main rhythmic instrument. All of the music, all of the harmony is coming from the vocals. 3-part harmony. We have female, male, male.
Jiving, then you ready, gotta jump, jiving, then you ready, gotta jump, jiving.
Just after the key change, there was this other slightly different bit.
Jill stayed up, she wants to learn how to jive and wail. Oh, you gotta.
So firstly, the 12-bar blues walking bass, boom, 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 is gone.
Jill stayed up, she wants to learn how to
Just chords exaggerated, grabs our attention, right? And then, of course, it's this bit of rhythmic magic.
jive and wail. Oh, you gotta jump, jiving.
Cha, 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 cha. Creating these syncopations in our head because it's not what we're used to hearing and we've become so familiar with in the whole song prior to this. And then towards the end, this same idea is introduced and that's what we're left with. And things are getting quite chaotic, but they do maintain their structure. Why? I think it's just because structure is really the most important thing when it comes to this type of music. Yeah, fun song, fun video. I'd love to be able to dance like that. I really would. I'm just nowhere near flexible enough. Does look like a lot of fun though, and hopefully this song injected some energy into your day. Let me know if you're familiar with Brian Setzer and either Stray Cats or the Brian Setzer Orchestra. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.